the start of this nation, we've always had differences and issues concerning civil rights. Our agency is important in Tennessee to make sure not only that we protect individuals when they have been wronged or treated unfairly, but to educate employers about what the laws are. Originally, we were the Tennessee Human Relations Commission. We got started in 1963. Our mission is to safeguard individuals from discrimination through education and enforcement. And here at the Commission, we investigate employment discrimination claims, housing discrimination claims, as well as public accommodations.
When I was at the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, I began there as an executive assistant. So I would do things like support the Board of Commissioners, support the Executive Director and his staff, all those things, help with the cases that were coming in. And then I moved into the position of Human Resources Director. I got a firsthand look at employment applications that were coded, and some of them would have like 40 plus. You can't discriminate against people over the age of 40, so would have that, or would have WL for white female, or BM for black male, things like that. And so I had an opportunity to see how it really worked, and then to tie that to the work that the investigators were doing and, the mission of the commission.
I worked for the election of Governor Winfield Dunn. And I think in appreciation, I was a patronage appointment to the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. I think I was the only person that gave him an event that was racially integrated, so he probably thought I might be a good candidate for the commission. I was so flattered to get to do this, and it was very exciting for me. We had a director at the time named Cornelius Jones, and he explained to me when I got on that our mission was to try and help eliminate job discrimination. And I said, how does it work? And he said, well, we use persuasion. And I learned that all the states in the Union except 9 had laws. New York had an anti-discrimination law against employment as early as 1945. In 1964 was when the federal government had the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Title VII of that act dealt with employment. So I quickly learned that we need a law. If we're an agency and we're using persuasion as a method of trying to get fair employment practices, that wasn't going to be terribly effective.
I worked for still work for the Tennessee AFL-CIO. A lot of issues that come up in the unions with discrimination and so forth. So I wanted to expand my knowledge into that field on how to resolve some of these issues. And if we couldn't resolve it through a grievance procedure, what was the next step? And so the Human Rights Commission allowed me to be able to help those individuals go to another area.
In 1978, we became an enforcement agency. And so now we have the power, similar to federal agencies of HUD and the EEOC, to actually investigate and bring appropriate litigation whenever there's evidence that there is discrimination has occurred.
Housing always was a big issue. There was always cases with discrimination in housing and people being put out because of dogs or whatever the case may be. So I thought those cases were very interesting. The commission the staff did a great job of resolving those and coming to a conclusion.
Individuals or families would try to go rent an apartment or maybe rent a house that somebody had on the market, and how they would face these challenges, being told that it's not available when it is available. Maybe, and it could be something as simple as, they weren't married, or it could be something like they were a couple, but they weren't of the same race. It could be something like that. It was a number of things. So those were the issues I was exposed to. And again, it helped me to realize that these things were happening, but more than that, I began to think, how can I make an impact in this small place, in this big world, but this small agency, this small commission? How can I learn this stuff and realize what's happening and help in the way that I was hired to help.
Being able to work with the staff, that was the biggest gift to me. To be able to call them up and say, hey, what's going on? Just daily talking with them and see how well they work together.
We started as of a staff, I believe, of 2 or 3 individuals. We have grown tremendously. We could probably use twice as much staff. We are an agency now of 33 individuals across the state.
I would love to see the commission expanded, get bigger, and have a lot of different coverages in the area, and in particular the rural areas. I think that a lot of times in the rural areas, people don't always hear about the commission. And I think that if we can expand and get into some of the other counties besides the major counties, we would be really welcome.
In the next 60 years, I still see this commission here and relevant. As long as we have a Civil Rights Act, we have a nation, we will have a need for this agency and agencies like this.
I hope to see more interest and people knowing that this is one commission out of many. There are a lot of things happening here in Nashville and in Tennessee that are important, but this one is important because it has the potential to impact everybody. You know, some people are oblivious, to discriminatory practices because they just haven't experienced it. But because of how we're made and how things have changed so much, I hope no one ever experiences, but there's so many ways you can experience it directly or indirectly that I think it's important.
We are the only state agency that actually has enforcement powers when it comes to housing discrimination and employment discrimination complaints. I would like for our agency to be at the forefront of whatever the problems are, kind of before it becomes an issue in the state. I want us to continue to train, become knowledgeable, informed about what's going on in the nation so that we can be ready to assist citizens.